Time, as you and I experience it these days, can feel increasingly dizzying and disorientating. But why, beyond lockdown disruption and social distancing, does time feel increasingly unfamiliar? So much of our contemporary struggle with time is, I believe, down to a tension between two groups of forces that are pulling our sense of time in polar opposite directions. In this video, I'm going to explore with you three frontiers of the future that are expanding your sense of time. Then I'm going to look at three forces that are doing completely the opposite, boxing your life into a shrinking territory of time here in the present. Then I'm going to look at two strategies for how you can find some firmer footing in all of this temporal upheaval. Welcome to Hours for the Making, the channel for curious and conscientious people who want to live better by engaging with their futures in ways that are more positive, purposeful and practical. Here we explore how you can escape short-term thinking, get future fit, and so don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to be notified of new videos which are published every week. Have you noticed something about time? Time feels, at least to me, like it's being stretched yet compressed simultaneously. But why? On the one hand, our idea of the future is expanding before our very eyes across three frontiers. 1. Life expectancy. We're living longer as life expectancy extends out towards 100 years and beyond. Our personal time horizons are stretching out further into the future. Throughout the 20th and into the early 21st century, there has been a steady addition to the number of years a person can reasonably expect to live. This lengthening of life has of course profound implications for how we think about our own futures and how societies organise themselves to look after their populations for the future. Number 2, science and technology. Advances in science and technology bring with them a wider range of future possibilities. New technologies could see us transform life and work with artificial intelligence, or even go on to colonize space. Medicine might shift from being an equalizer whereby we seek to raise everybody up to a similar healthy level to being something that enhances the lives of the lucky few who can afford access to treatments that build human abilities beyond what's considered normal or average. And 3, climate change. We have an improved understanding and visibility of some of the long-term issues the world faces, such as climate change. As Kate Raworth notes in her book Donut Economics, ours is the first generation to properly understand the damage we have been doing to our planetary household, and probably the last generation with the chance to do something transformative about it. And yet, at the same moment, powerful forces pin our lives to a shrinking territory of time here in the present. These forces are, number 1, technological, the flip side. Picture the scene. Every morning, as you reach for your smartphone, technology draws your attention into a now that consists of a perpetual stream of refreshed content and minute-by-minute updates. 2, societal. In the world around you, the structures of government and commerce are tightly wound around short electoral cycles, quarterly reporting, and near instantaneous trading. And 3, the wiring of our own minds. Our own minds, or at least part of them, are wired for prioritising the present ahead of the future, even if this means settling for more meagre rewards today, over waiting patiently for a larger reward in the days, months or years to come. This is epitomised by the classic 1960s marshmallow experiment conducted by Stanford psychologist Walter Mischel. Mischel presented children aged between 4 and 6 with a single treat, usually a marshmallow, and told them if they could sit alone in a room and hold back from eating the treat for a quarter of an hour, he'd return and reward them with a second treat. 2 out of 3 children just couldn't wait to double their marshmallow. All this shortening of our now contributes to what longtime project founders Ella Saltmarsh and Beatrix Pembroke call a moment of myopia, where the complexity and rate of change in our lives is so great that our time horizons are collapsing into an ever shorter now. Public philosopher Roman Krznaric suggests that we now live in an age of pathological short-termism. But what I find so dizzying and disorientating about time as we experience it is the combination of these expanding frontiers, revealing prospects that reach out into far-off futures, with these collapsing forces that seem to rob us of the time we need to meaningfully engage with all of these wondrous possibilities. It's like our minds are perpetually teased out to the longer term future before being tempted back into our phones and boxed into the here and now. So how can you find your footing in this age of hyperchange? Here are two strategies. The first, see changes for what they are. Forces that are present but not necessarily in your gift to influence is perhaps a good start. Then holding up a mirror to our world can be a useful prompt. It invites you to either go along with it, or it can encourage you to see ways in which you could quietly and loudly rebel. 2. Accept your finitude. You and I might need to just confront and accept what author Oliver Burkeman describes in his book 4,000 Weeks as the central tension that lies at the heart of our relationship with time. And that is this: time and our ideas of what could happen over the course of time is infinite. We can imagine and do all sorts of schemes, set all manner of goals, form all sorts of intentions that reach out to infinity and beyond. Yet our own personal time, the hours that you and I have available to us, is very much finite. This simple statement of fact, Burkeman suggests, reveals the absurdity and impossibility of trying to fit everything you want to do, or think you need to do, into the stubbornly limited time you have available. Perhaps letting go of the idea that you can or should even try to fit your infinite imagination into your finite life releases some of the pressure of expectations to get everything done on your to-do list, only to make way for all the other things you now imagine you need to be doing. Accepting our finitude, in the very least, opens up our time in the present. It allows us to breathe a little more freely, lift our eyes to more distant temporal horizons, and even engage a bit more with some of those future possibilities. And who knows, maybe even create a few new ones. Thanks for watching. If you got value from this video, please like and subscribe to the channel, where you'll see new videos posted every week. If you want to dive into some of the issues we've talked about here in a little bit more depth, I also have a weekly newsletter, and you can sign up to that as well. Until next time, remember, the future is undeniably ours for the making.